When you get the #3 strawweight in the world and the best grappler on planet Earth, you do one thing and one thing only. You feed her tacos. We got Tatiana Suarez today. Food Truck Diaries. When they told me we were doing taco trucks and you're Hispanic, I thought, all right, guys, a little on the nose, huh? A little on the nose, fellas. What are you guys known for, my man?
Well, we have
Tacos, dumbass.
tacos.
Which one are you going
That's
with?
weird. I think maybe the first one.
The pescatarian?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm probably gonna eat the pescatarian affair with you, and then when we get done wrapping, I'll probably come back and eat the other ones. So,
All of them? I don't know why, but I thought you were gonna get the barbecue chicken taco.
because I'm white.
No.
And then how many tacos for you?
2.
Did you want chips?
I'm okay.
Did you want chips?
Yeah. And I'll do 3, please. I'm starving. We've done this show a few times. The only one I've ever asked to come on is you, and I think Michael Bisping. Bisping,
really?
you're up next, by the way.
What are you gonna have with him? Fish and chips?
Right? God, what's next, guys? I said if I had to put all my money on one person, become a world champion, it'd be you. And obviously you have the skills and stuff like that,
Right.
but your story, what you've been through, fighting's kind of like,
Yeah.
it can't be that tough.
It's still tough, but it's not as tough.
So for you, your journey starts, you start wrestling at 3 and a half?
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5, and then you started because your older brother?
Yeah, my older brother is 7 years older than me.
7 years
Yeah.
older, so a lot
So
older.
like he was a lot older than me. So then I just saw him and I was like, oh, like.
And was he
he's
a
doing
stud?
Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
That's
So he
cool.
went to Lindenwood University, and then I ended up going there later on and wrestling there for like a year. But then I wanted to focus on like the international level.
Yeah.
And so I stopped going to school there, and I focused on. I went to the Olympic Training Center. I lived there for a couple years, and I was wrestling, all over the world. It was fun. Like I got to travel the world and wrestle at the same time. So
Heck
like
yeah,
I would
that's
go to
fun.
like Germany, Japan.
And you're on the national team during all this?
Yeah,
Is that what you're doing,
yeah.
competing internationally?
I made my first team when I was 17.
Damn.
Yeah.
Because you were, for people that don't know your story, so started wrestling at 3.5 because your older brother. You
Right.
start wrestling, you're pretty damn good at it. Your
Yeah.
mom's like, all right, let's see what happens here.
Yeah.
You start beating all the dudes' asses,
Yeah.
all the boys' asses. And then you're the #1 ranked in the world, right?
well,
no,
in-
'1 in the nation.
Yeah, third in
#3
the world. Yeah.
#3 in the world. And your whole plan is to be an Olympic champion.
Right.
That's your dreams.
Yes.
Take it from there.
So I was at the Olympic Training Center. I went to France, and I had like a tournament there. I ended up winning the tournament, but like I had noticed like there was like a pain going down my arm.
Like a warm sensation, or just like a.
It was like it was going
pinched nerve
numb. It
almost?
was going numb. Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
felt like it was going numb. So I was like, maybe I should go get checked out. I told my coach, he's like, you need to get checked out. And we have like everybody there, like at the Olympic Training Center, we have the best people there. So they started testing me, and they saw like my nerves were really like acting funny, like almost like a baby. So they're like, oh, you need to get your neck checked out. So I was like, my neck doesn't hurt. So they got my neck checked out. I had a bad neck injury, and then because of the neck injury, I found out that I had cancer. So that's how I actually found out. Like I would have never known
Because they did an MRI?
on my neck. Yeah,
And because it was in your thyroid.
yeah, it was in my thyroid. Yeah, so I got really lucky. Like it was something like it was a freak luck, really, to be honest.
Because they were just checking out your neck. They run
Right.
the MRI and like,
Right.
holy shit,
They
there's
saw
cancer.
they saw like a node on my thyroid, and they're like, oh, you need to go get it checked out. And I thought it was like gonna be nothing. You're 20 years old.
You're
I'm
20,
Yeah, I was
thriving,
20 years old.
#1
Yeah.
in the nation.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm fine.
So they told you snooze, and they're like, hey, you got to go over here just to make sure it's not cancer.
Yeah.
And you're like, not a big deal.
Right.
You go over there, and then what happens?
They're like, oh, you have cancer.
Hold on. They don't come in and just be like, what's up, girl? You got cancer. So anyway, did the guy come in and was like, we got bad news?
I don't remember how he told me, but
It's probably all
definitely
blur.
said like, you definitely have cancer. and so basically what they do is when you have thyroid cancer, they'll remove your thyroid.
They take your thyroid
So
out,
first
yeah.
they removed half of my thyroid to test the actual thyroid to see if it's actually like it's cancerous.
Yeah.
If not, then they leave the other side of your thyroid in. So some people live with half of their thyroid, but because mine was it was cancerous, they had to take the whole thyroid out, and then it was affecting like a bunch of my nodes. So I had to have a lot of lymph nodes removed around my.
Because the cancer cells.
Yeah, it had spread. So, and then it had been spreading to my, like near my lungs. So I had to, so then I had to have a radiation therapy and then the iodine as well. So I had a couple
But hold up.
things.
So when they tell you have cancer and they're going through all this,
Right.
do they even say anything about like wrestling being over?
Because I had the neck injury, they told me I had to take off wrestling anyways because I had to really repair my neck. My neck was really bad.
It was that bad?
Yeah, it was that bad where they're like, you could be paralyzed.
Damn.
So I was like, let's take care of like both of them, and it was really heartbreaking. It was horrible because like I was more sad about the not wrestling part than the cancer part, and people are like, are you crazy? But when you wrestle
wrestling's life.
but from when I was wrestling since the age of 3 years old, so like in a lot of ways it was something that really defined me and who
It's
I
your
was.
identity, yeah.
So when it was taken from me, it was really difficult for me, and it was something that it was like really hard to deal with.
So 20, they say chemo, cancer, stop wrestling.
Yeah.
You're off the national team because you can't compete, right? The Olympic dreams shattered.
Yep.
That's fun. And so then you got to leave Colorado Springs.
Yeah, so I left.
And you go back home.
I went back home.
And then what? So when you went back, I'm sure you called your mom, your family.
Yeah, but so my mom's like a warrior, right? So when I told my mom, I told her, but like I stayed away. I was living in Pasadena. It was something that I kind of dealt with like almost alone,
And
to be honest.
Jesus Christ. And
Yeah.
were you living by yourself?
No, at the time I was living with a boyfriend. That was a bad relationship.
That was bad
So
too?
that was really weird because like all these weird things started happening at once. Like I had, I came back and ended up getting back with that boyfriend, bad boyfriend,
He's a terrible dude.
toxic person, and like it was really weird because like I ended up like finding out I had cancer. I was going through the cancer radiation. Then like he became like abusive towards me, and I was like, okay, like it's time to get out of here.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I left.
You call this the trifecta.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on right now? So it was like a really weird like time in my life where I was like, what is going on? Like I was about to be an Olympic champion, and now I'm like
Complete
dealing with
180, yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. So then after the radiation and everything, I was healthy. I think it was maybe like a year later, and someone invited me to like an MMA gym, which I'm still at now. And they're like, oh,
Is
do you
that
want to?
Millennium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you want to come to a jiu-jitsu class at Millennia? Do you know any girls that want to do MMA? And I was like, yeah, me.
Why did you want to do MMA? Because obviously wrestling was the goal.
Yeah.
You stopped
Well,
doing that. And then,
I always wanted to fight, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my goal was to be an Olympic champion, and then right after I was done with that, I wanted to go and do MMA.
DC style.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to do.
So, but when you're at home and you're in Pasadena, what are you doing for work? How are you paying the bills besides that shitty boyfriend?
Well, no, he wasn't paying nothing. I actually, because I had a bunch of money from the world team and stuff like that, I got paid.
Saved.
Yeah, I saved a lot of money, so I was living off of basically that. And then once that ran out, this is a really weird thing that random. I started doing dog training for like PetSmart, Petco, a couple of the Unleashed thing.
Yeah.
And I was doing that like as a hobby while I was, not a hobby, but like for a living while I was training full time in MMA, like trying to make it to the UFC. And then I made it on the Ultimate Fighter show. That's kind of
And then how long were you fighting before you made it on the Ultimate Fighter?
I think it was probably, let's see, I've been fighting now for 6 years, so it was like around like 3 years. Yeah.
Let's grab our food.
A fork with tacos?
It's always weird eating on camera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be gun shy about it, and then if you watch the Ryan Bader one, I am just deep throating this Philly cheesesteak. And it was all downhill from there.
Is he from Philadelphia?
No, it doesn't make any sense. It was just a delicious sandwich. But he went on to win. Everyone who's done the show has gone on to win.
Really?
Yep. We're kind of like a good luck thing.
So you're not like a Drake?
No, just in my predictions sometimes. So you're training, going to that gym. You do a Jiu-Jitsu competition? They sign you up for Jiu-Jitsu competition?
Yeah, so this is really random. So my coach, like at first I was like, maybe I'll just do Jiu-Jitsu, because like, I don't know, I really liked it. And then I was a white belt, of course, I just started. And I was like 2 months into it, like I think maybe a month or two. And he's like, hey, you want to do rolls? And I was like, what? I don't even know one submission yet. Like all I knew was like to pass the guard, really. And he's like, no, you're fine. You'll smash. And I was like,
He's Brazilian, obviously.
Yeah.
You
And
smash is Brazilian.
yeah.
Okay, bro.
So then I was like, okay, like, I mean, I've never turned out a challenge, so I was like, sure, I'll do it.
Is this gi?
Yeah, this is gi.
Wow.
So it's not like, like,
Yeah, no
it's
gi
not
get
as easy.
scrambles, you just beat the shit out of them.
So then I was like, okay, so these people are like holding on to my gi, and I'm like, I don't really know what to do. I guess I'll just take you down and like try to pass. I don't know. I ended up winning the tournament, but it was not pretty, let me tell you.
But
I didn't know
it's not
anything.
pretty maybe for the jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
fan base. However, did you enter the white belt?
Yeah.
Those poor souls, that entered the white belt. And you got this fucking monster and like, oh, I'm just a white belt. And then you just mollywop them.
Yeah.
Someone call that sandbagging.
Well, I don't know if he knew like the exact level.
He didn't know what wrestling?
He knew
You're like,
I
yeah, it's
wrestled.
number one in
He
the fucking
definitely
nation.
knew I wrestled. He
But not
just
to that
didn't
level.
know. Yeah, like even like some people now that like go to my gym, they know I'm a good wrestler, but they just don't know like.
I feel like the
level.
UFC doesn't realize what level of wrestler you're at.
I don't know. Yeah, they like always like mention like the A6.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, the A6. Like I was in high school. That's like nothing.
Yeah,
like I
it's
did that
weird.
4 years in a row. You know, so I was like, it's okay. I don't really care.
Or even like with your matchup with Carla Esparza, when they're going to the wrestling credentials, I see someone break it down. They're like, the wrestling's be pretty even. I'm like, I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
Just do some homework. This thing ain't gonna be even.
Yeah.
You have,
I mean,
you
it
have
was
such
hard.
an advantage.
It's hard to be like, like a lot of times like people will start saying stuff and it's like sometimes it's like hard to hold my comments back, and I'm just like, you know what, I'll just like let it show out.
You're doing
there.
the right thing.
Yeah.
So you win worlds,
Right.
and then from there, whose idea was it for you to start punching girls in the face?
Well, my coaches like saw and they're like, oh, she's good, So the MMA coaches there, I think it took them even a while to kind of realize what they had there. Like I don't think they knew it right away.
I think too, because you're kind of like you're super humble and you're not like brash and like real loud. So
Right.
it might be tough, especially in the gyms I grew up in and grew up with my career. And whenever a female came in, it was like
Yeah.
it's such a male, not so much now, probably still, but
It still is.
it's
yeah.
so male dominated.
Right.
When a female comes in, it takes a while to get used to it.
Right, yeah. No, I mean, I was so used to, it was weird because like I was so used to, in wrestling, I was so used to everybody knowing who I was because I did so well, even in the men's like the boys division when I wrestled in high school and stuff like that, and growing up as a kid, that even when I went to Lindenwood University, I was beating the 125-pound guys that were wrestling there.
Jesus Christ.
And they were like, man, she could be our starter, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, and I was like, no, I'm going to focus on, the Olympics and stuff like that. But it was just funny because, like, I'm so used to walking into a gym and everybody kind of knowing
You have respect
who
right
I
away.
was.
Yeah.
And I had that respect. And when going into MMA, it wasn't like that. They didn't know anything about me. But now, they definitely respect me, all the
For
people.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, you got to
in
earn
my
the
gym,
respect,
too.
right?
Yeah, I definitely earned it.
I can't imagine. I don't have a daughter, but I have a son. Even him fight, I'm like, dear God, no. I can't imagine having a daughter and just, it's hard enough as a male in the fight world, as a
Right.
female, just growing up around that wrestling culture,
Right.
stuff like, because you're a super feminine, like pretty girl. So a lot of times let's call it like it is, a lot of times the girls look, the rough, they're warlocks.
Yeah.
But when it's a pretty looking girl, it's kind of, it's a tough go.
Yeah.
It's a tough go.
It's so weird because like people are like, oh, did guys like, this is real. I don't know if I want to use this, but like they would be like, oh, they get like excited when you wrestled them? I was like, no, they're too busy holding on for dear life. And,
You're
trying not
beating
to
their
lose.
ass. It's
Yeah,
embarrassing.
exactly.
I had a
yeah.
friend named Alan Gashani in 6th grade on the wrestling team, and he was his name was great. And we were wrestling, I forget what school, and his weight class was the girl. And we saw her walk by, and we were like, God, who's gonna get the girl? And, that's how it was back in the day. And he got her, and she beat the shit out of him. She was this like scrawny black girl, mopped the floor with him, and he started crying. So not only did he get his ass whipped, then he started crying. He never wrestled a day after that. He quit the wrestling team.
I've had a couple people like message me on Instagram like, oh my God, you're in the UFC. You beat me when I was like in high school. I was like, oh really? And they're like, I don't feel that bad anymore.
It validates them. Yeah, we're like,
Yeah.
dude, like hopefully that girl that beat my friend's ass in the UFC. I don't think so, but hopefully she is. Because he'd be like, yeah, dude, remember when I lost? Yeah, but this is why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with you growing up in a male-dominated world and kind of going through it, and then get cancer, then you start fighting, and then the Ultimate Fighter comes calling.
Right.
Do you have to try out for it?
Yeah, I tried out. I got picked. I don't know if I was like, number one pick. I don't really care. But I got on the show, ended up fighting this girl named Chelsea Bailey, and then I was the number one pick, which I didn't expect that.
Who were your coaches that season?
Joanna and Claudia were the coaches that season.
And who was your coach?
My coach was Claudia.
And did you get to train with her?
Not really. Like, she's kind of like,
In and out?
yeah, like she was a good coach, but she just really focused on like us, and like she was a really good coach.
When
Like,
I was on there, I got my confidence from watching the other fighters in the house struggle with the kind of whole Ultimate Fighter experience. Like when guys would start complaining like, oh, I miss my mom, or I miss my brother, or I miss my girlfriend, and then
Right.
have these breakdowns.
Yeah.
In this weird way, it like powered me because I was thriving. Like I didn't
Right.
care. I just knew I had these 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If I did well, I was gonna make a name for myself.
Right.
And so I would pick opponents based off, we'd be in the hot tub. I remember D'Amico Rogers, we're in the hot tub, and it was like our first 3 days in the house, and he goes, I just want to win one fight, man, that's it. And then if I don't win after that, I'm good. And I remember everyone was so scared of him because he was like one of the most athletic. In my head, I thought, oh, he's weak-minded. I'm gonna go after him first.
yeah, no, it was easy. The only thing that like kind of, because I'm like a very impatient person. That's one thing that I know like about myself.
You want it now, you want it
Yeah.
success right away?
Yep. So I was like, why can't we just fight every week? But we were, I was the first fight. I won my fight. But thankfully, I was the first fight because like I slammed her and I cut myself. So it was like,
Oh, wow.
I was like, man. I was like, and now I'm cut, So I wasn't able to like train for a couple weeks. I had to wait for it to heal or whatever. And then once that happened, but then I was just waiting. I was just sitting around waiting for my next fight. I had to wait for everybody else to fight before I fought again, and then figure out who I was gonna fight again. And we all ended up fighting each other anyways. Like
That's how it
all
goes.
the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like all the girls on my team fought each other.
Because you guys were dominating.
Yeah. We all the girls won, and almost all the guys won.
Do you have a lot of tough alumni go, God, that was the worst experience ever. When I hear that, I'm like, God, I thought it was an awesome time.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
I don't think it was the like most awful time of my life, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
no
say it was
shit.
like it wasn't like the greatest. I just
Why?
I don't like not being around like people that are close to me.
I hear you. I hate being
Yeah.
by myself, especially. I hate being alone.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on the road, I'll just call random guys I haven't talked to in forever.
Well, I'm like really competitive, so everybody that was there, I just
Me
felt
too.
like
All
they're
that-
trying to take something away from
Agree.
me.
Agree. But I didn't view it. Did you view it as like a negative experience?
No, not a negative one.
Especially because you
I
won.
think it made me stronger for sure as an athlete, and it definitely showed me like things that I needed to work on, and it definitely strengthens you mentally. I believe it's
Agree.
an experience. I feel like it's good for me because, well, I mean, think about it. When I went into this tournament, I only had 4 professional fights. I think maybe
Yeah.
even 3,
Yep.
and I was like, well, I don't have that much experience, but I know I'm great. So I'm like, I know I'm gonna win the show. But it was an opportunity for me to get some, cage time in there and kind of feel a little bit more
Quick,
comfortable.
too.
Yeah, and they're right one after the other. I didn't have to wait for matchups. They were there. It was right there for me. So it was something that was good for me, and
I
it
think
was
you
good publicity. I
Yeah,
guess.
great publicity.
Yeah.
I think it can be the best thing to happen to a fighter, and kind of a tough situation too, because like you, didn't have your wrestling background at all, which is a huge credit to you going in and doing it.
Yeah.
Huge advantage. So then, we're buying Maserati. I fucking hate Maseratis. I hate Maseratis. They ruin the show.
ruin the
every
show.
time they fucking. So you win the Ultimate Fighter,
Right.
right? Kind of the favorite to win with your wrestling background.
Yeah.
And then you're in the UFC.
Right.
And so when you get to the UFC, you're, especially in the women's, the division you're in, you don't have to win that many before you get a title shot. I mean, it's
Right.
thicker than other divisions for sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're moving.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of weird because I kind of got like really good, like the opponents that I got set me up perfectly because I had like I think a number 15 or something like that, and then I jumped to number 9 because the girl that I fought was number 9.
Yeah.
And then I fought Carla, which was number 5. So
Former
then I
world
got
champion, too.
yeah. So then I was able to jump. So people like a lot of people are like saying like, oh, you haven't fought anybody, and I'm like, well. It's fine. I don't even care, but
No.
they're just like, you know, they say that, and then now I'm fighting Nina, and they just think like Michelle Watterson deserves it or other people deserve it, and I'm like, I
Deserve
don't really
what, though?
Like the title contention.
The title contention?
Yeah.
Because we don't know the next title contention fight, right? Dana hasn't given,
For the
because we know who Rose is fighting, right?
Right.
So we know who Rose is fighting, and then we don't know the next title. Like yours could be a title contention fight.
that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the word on the street. Because you're both ranked 3, right?
Yeah. And then I think like I was like, because like I feel like a lot of people do not respect Nina for some reason. They just don't respect her. And so they're like, oh, well, she beats Nina. Like, why does she get a title? And I was like, I'll fight Joanna. I don't really care who I fight, you know. I just wanted a top opponent that was in the top 5 so that I could try to get a title, you know, a title shot next. After
Yeah,
this
because
fight.
if you beat her undefeated, she's ranked number 3.
Right.
Especially, you know, you get it like you've been doing.
Yeah.
You know? I think, do you ever look at previous kind of people with your background? Like, you know, there's been other women champions who have these phenomenal Olympic backgrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get in the UFC and they're winning, they're doing what got them to the party.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're strikers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I see interviews with you, and you're like, oh, you know, I can strike. And your last fight, you did do something. Not that you can't strike,
Right.
and I'm sure you work hard on it, and you have
Yeah.
the skills to pick it up fast. But, you know, with striking, there's people who do it better. There's people who can do it the same as you, but there's
Right.
no one who can grapple like you.
Yeah.
So when, like, I always get worried as a fan that you're gonna feel like you have something to prove on the feet.
That's one thing you won't have to worry
Really?
about. It's like
Because
so
I felt like in your last fight, I'm like, for sure, just take her down. Choke her
it's
out.
so
What are we doing?
natural for me to like shoot. Like it's not even that I like go in there with a game plan to shoot. I just do it. And to be honest, like I'll do multiple, like a lot of my training sessions, I don't even wrestle that much. Like I mostly just spar. And when I
Why
go out
though?
there, I just go
And you go.
Yeah, I just wrestle. It's like my boyfriend's like, you're so good. You know, why don't you ever strike? I'm like, I don't know. I just go out there and shoot. I don't know.
But why even risk it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I
you're
don't know.
so good at this one thing
Right.
that I don't think any girl's gonna be able to stop.
Yeah, that's why I just do it. Like I go out there and I just start wrestling. It's not even like it's not something like I purposely do, but I do it because it's out of instinct. I've been doing it for so long. And they like give it to me. They're like reach, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, their legs are right there.
Yeah, I know. Do you look at any of those probably top 5 as potentially tougher matchups than the other? Not to overlook your fight
Yeah.
in June, but when you look at like if I'm your manager, I'm your agent or your coach, and I'm looking at the matchups, there's a few where you're like, oh man, that's gonna be a tougher fight than these
Yeah.
other ones. Like Jessica Andrade,
Yeah.
she's a little tank.
Yeah, I just feel like if I fight Jessica Andrade, she's gonna be a little lost because a lot of times with her, she's very like strong and she like
Super strong.
overpowers all these girls and
She's like a John Lineker. with her.
yeah, and me, I'm also strong, and so I think it's gonna be a little bit harder for her to like do the things that she can. And if she like slams me, I'm good at getting slammed. Like I'll get slammed and like pop to my feet and like
Yeah.
take you down. Like
Yeah.
I'm like people haven't seen a lot of what I can do because I haven't been really tested, you know. So it's like I don't
Who's
know.
gonna test you though? Like
I don't know,
They,
we'll
they
see.
say, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Like in that top 5, when I look at it, Joanna might be able to give you problems with her
Yeah.
takedown defense
Yeah,
and
she
her
has good
elite
TJ.
striking.
Right.
Like, have you thought about that? Like Jessica Andrade, obviously Rose with her
Yeah.
movement, her striking, her jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I'm not too worried about you with the jiu-jitsu and the
Yeah.
grappling. I think you'll be all right with that.
Yeah, I feel good there.
Yeah. So when I look at Jessica Andrade, little tank, Rose Namajunas, her footwork, her athletic ability, her striking, but then Joanna with her takedown defense and her elite striking.
I don't know. I can't wait to get in there with them because I just feel like I'm gonna shut it down. Yeah, and I'm only getting better. Like I'm hiding my strikes a lot better with like some striking, you know, like hiding the shots better. So it's gonna be like a lot of times they're not gonna even see the shots coming.
Is it fair when I call you the Khabib of the women's division? Does that bother you at all?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, he's a champion.
Yeah.
He's the baddest dude on the planet.
He's
Baddest
awesome.
155er on the planet.
Yeah.
And the reason why Khabib's so good is because everyone in the lightweight division, monsters. Everyone in
Right.
your division, monsters. But when I look at the similarities between you and Khabib, it's if you guys are Swiss Army knives and you guys are in grappling, the best athletes in the world, they can learn, if they're not wrestlers, they can learn the first 1 or 2 or 3 defensive moves.
Right.
But you guys just keep coming with these different tools and keep coming,
Yeah.
where eventually you're going to catch up to them.
Right.
And you're going to do something where they're not ready for.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like, you know, I'm a good chain wrestler. I go from one position to the other, and I just don't let people breathe. I don't give them a lot of space. So I think and I think Khabib does the same thing. Like, he doesn't give people space, and he's a really good chain wrestler.
That's it. The chain wrestling is the
Mm-hmm.
key. But also, you guys are similar where you want to break them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like with Khabib, I'm never worried about him getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Because he might risk some. You know, if he's winning, he'll get a little flash and show off his stand-up,
Yeah.
which we saw with Ali Quinta and Conor for that matter.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know that he's not going for the quick finish if it's there. But you guys, I feel like both you want to take their break their souls.
Yeah, it's true. I think when you've been doing it for so long, you kind of start gauging people, and like you can kind of start seeing them like wither and start
Yeah.
giving up, and then that's when you start going harder. That's kind of how I felt with Carla. Like, I started to see her like her energy started going down,
Yeah.
and when that happens, my energy starts going up. So then I was able to get the finish at the end. But yeah, I think he's the same. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I think he's the
I
same.
see similarities,
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I see similarities. So you fight in June, number 3 in the world. You're both number 3.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, how do you see 2019 going for Tatiana?
Well, I see, you know, obviously I want to see myself winning this next fight, and then, you know, getting a title shot against whoever wins in May.
You're gonna call out after your win, whoever
Yeah.
wins that one? That
I
seems
mean, I don't
fair.
know if I'm going to call them out, but maybe.
You almost have to, I
It
feel,
depends.
right?
It
A little
depends
bit,
on how I
but why
feel.
wouldn't you? Let's say you go in there and you perform like you expect you're going to perform.
Right.
Let's say you choke her out in the first round or beat the brakes off her for 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dominant performance. I mean, why wouldn't you just be like, yeah, give me the goddamn belt?
I might say something. I'll probably say something.
You know,
It
be
depends
you.
on how I
Whatever
feel.
you're doing, just be you.
Yeah, it just depends on how I feel like afterwards. Like, I remember the last fight, I said something, and I don't usually ever say anything. But I felt like I had a good performance, and like
For sure.
I beat this girl up pretty badly, and so I was like, you know. But I already knew after Andrade knocked that girl out that she was gonna get the shot, which I'm fine with. Wasn't
Yeah.
like salty at all. I didn't
No.
care, you know.
Just keep
I was
doing
like,
your
it's
thing.
cool. I'll do one more. You know, I'll do
Yeah.
one more, 2 more, whatever you guys want. So,
But
because
you're-
I mean, I'm in no rush.
No rush, because are you on the Ultimate Fighter contract?
I renegotiated.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, we're good. I was gonna say definitely no rush if you're on the Ultimate Fighter contract.
No, I did, yeah. So
Love it.
so I was happy about that. But I mean, I was like on a 8-fight contract or something, and renegotiated. So
Good for you.
yeah.
You're
So it
damn
was
right
nice.
you renegotiated. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the tacos. I mean,
I didn't
kind of
eat
tried
'em.
them.
Well,
I know.
I
You can
was-
eat them off air.
Well,
I just set you up, and if the cameras don't catch me, but I scarf it down. Yeah, come on.
Superman punch.
I was starving.
I was like, how am I gonna eat and talk?
I know.
I'm be like,
I know. I know. I know. Show didn't make sense. But yeah, you're one of my faves. Like I said, you're the only. You and Bisping are the only ones I've ever requested on the
Really?
show.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
think the
appreciate
world
that.
of you. I think your future is so bright.
Thank
I think
you.
your future's so bright, and you know this.
yeah, I've seen your show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know this.
And
But
people
thanks for
are
coming
like,
on.
oh yeah, did you see this? And they like a clip of you like, I'll bet all my money.
And I'm a betting man. I'm a betting man.
I was like,
So,
oh man, shucks.
I know.
That was
You're
nice
gonna do
of you.
great. Though. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks
I
so much.
appreciate it.